slide easier than a loaded machine with its load being carried in the lowered position. This is because the effect of the load is to lower the combined center of gravity of the machine and its load. Never drive a telescopic handler with the boom raised. Transport the load as low as possible and use the carriage tilt-back function to retain the load better and keep it from sliding off. Travel slowly with the boom fully retracted and be ready to make adjustments with the frame leveling on side slopes. Avoid sloping ground if possible and do not drive on excessively steep slopes. When ascending or descending slopes, approach the hill straight on and keep the load facing up the slope. When unloaded, travel with the forks or attachment downhill. When descending, use a low gear to permit engine compression to assist the brakes in controlling machine speed. If it's necessary to drive on a slope, keep the load low and proceed carefully. Avoid turning on slopes if possible, but if necessary, make wide and slow turns. On side slopes, frame leveling is intended to be used to stabilize a telescopic handler and its load. Always level the frame before lifting. Never use the frame leveling function when the boom is raised, because this could cause the machine to tip over. If you feel the machine tipping, the safest reaction is to stay in the seat. Keep the seat belt fastened. Brace yourself and lean away from the fall. Do not attempt to jump. Operators must know how to read and use the telescopic handler's load charts located in the cab. These charts show the machine's capacity at different heights and distances in front of the machine. The lifting ability of a telescopic handler is based on the principle of two weights balanced on opposite sides of a pivot point. Factors affecting this balance are the weight of the machine, the weight of the load to be lifted, and the centers of gravity of the machine and the load. Because a telescopic handler has components that move, its center of gravity can move, such as when the boom is raised and lowered, and extended and retracted. When picking up loads, insert the forks all the way. Inspect the load for stability and secure it prior to lifting. With mixed loads, place the heavier items near the fork carriage. Lift capacities are usually established using a 24-inch load center. So if the load is centered more than 24 inches from the backrest, then the actual capacity of the machine is less than what is shown on the load chart. On machines equipped with stabilizers or outriggers, be sure to use the proper load chart, which corresponds with the stabilizers being in use or not. Make sure that the ground can support the weight of the telescopic handler and load, and that any structure the load will be landed on can support the load safely. Before lifting, shift the transmission into neutral and apply the parking brake and level the frame. Place the load by alternately extending and raising and lowering the boom. Feather the controls. Avoid moving the levers to their full limits, which can result in rapid and jerky movements and instability. Reverse the procedure to withdraw the forks. Lower the boom before backing away. Special situations require extra caution. For example, when entering a building, overhead and turning clearance must be checked, and the operator must allow time for his eyes to adjust to the different lighting. Some telescopic handlers are approved for use as personnel lifts. This can be determined by looking in the machine's operator's manual and decals. Other machines are available with controls that are remote from the operator's compartment. But all these machines must be operated only with strict adherence to applicable safety standards and regulations. Failure to follow the proper precautions can lead to accidents and injuries, and to citations and fines. Manufacturers of personnel work platforms and telescopic handlers that are approved for lifting personnel provide users with the necessary additional safety precautions in operators' manuals and on warning decals. Use of this type of equipment is beyond the scope of this video, but be aware that before using a telescopic handler to lift personnel, operators and work platform personnel must be familiar with the applicable safety precautions, such as the precautions concerning attachment of the work platform and the use of safety harnesses, and the design specifications for work platforms that comply with OSHA regulations. Furthermore, users must be trained on the use of that specific equipment. When using attachments, refer to load charts applicable to the attachment. Only use attachments that are authorized by the forklift manufacturer. OSHA regulations prohibit use of attachments that are not approved. Some telescopic handlers are equipped with a quick attach feature, which allows attachments to be changed without using tools. Follow the instructions for installation and removal in the operator's manual. Visually inspect to be sure the attachment has been securely attached or detached. Loading a telescopic handler on a truck or trailer requires an experienced operator. Use ramps of adequate strength that provide a low loading angle. After the machine is loaded, lower the boom, apply the parking brake, and remove the key. Secure the machine in accordance with DOT regulations, using at least 4 tie-downs. Park the machine away from traffic on solid level ground. If it is not possible to park on level ground, park across the slope and chock the tires. Place the transmission in neutral. Apply the parking brake, lower the fork carriage, and turn off the engine. Never leave the machine unattended with the engine running. Beginning operators should practice the procedures covered in this video before operating in actual work sites. Good operating practices ensure maximum productivity and minimize accidents. Be a good operator. Think safety.